This right here is so much scarier than drawing digitally on a single layer. There, I said it. I hope you're having a magical day. I'm Pegah, a self taught artist on a mission to make a living out of my art. So come along to find out if it's actually possible because we're going to be figuring it out together. So I've been drawing since I was really young and I gave it up after high school. I picked it back up again 2 years ago. I learned traditional art and portrait drawings in a realistic style, which was actually the only training that I got, but I didn't even finish that training because we didn't get to the anatomy or the backgrounds. No, only portraits with pencil. After that, I dabbled with watercolor and pastel by myself, but I got bored slowly after and I just stopped practicing. The problem is that I am very impatient when creating. I want to draw fast, I want the result. And I couldn't with the traditional realistic style. And I didn't know anything about character stylization and cartoons. Somehow it didn't occur to me that I could go that route. I did, however, start to develop the interest in that stylization world when I started reading Webtoon back in high school. So, a couple years ago, I picked up my pencil again and I realized it is much harder to draw stylized characters than I thought. And the most difficult part is doing it digitally. The learning curve was huge for me. Fast forward to a year ago, I actually decided to listen to that tiny voice inside and take the art a bit more seriously and practice more. To be honest though, I haven't practiced enough, but I believe I've come really, really far despite that, especially in the past couple of months. So I'm going to share with you 4 things that have helped me in the past couple of months to go from this to this. Number one, observing the webtoons that I read. So for me, a comic that usually takes about 1 to 2 minutes to read takes me 15 minutes to read because I go back and I pay close attention to what the artist is doing, how they're, portraying the characters, what are the shadows, what are the line works, how are they, telling the story within the boxes. And I just get so lost in that. And I pretty much study every action that they have taken in that little box of comic. Because they are telling a story, it is important that they are clear, it is important that they do it well. And so I feel like comic artists have really grasped perfect balance between simplicity and enough complexity to draw something beautiful and tell the story very clearly and very easily. Some of my favorite artists that I've been reading and studying their work through their comics is Miriam with her comics of Marionetta and Hooky. If you haven't read them, if you haven't seen her work, please go ahead and do. She is absolutely amazing. Her simplistic style, it just speaks to me so much. It has a beautiful texture. The lines are thick, but they are meaningful. Every stroke that she puts down has an intention, and it just shows her confidence in them. Some of the other comics that I've been reading and I've been really enjoying their artwork is Mafia Nanny and Demon's Wish. Demon's Wish art style is very unique to me. I love the texture that they use and the shadows and the highlights that they put on is just beautiful. Chef's kiss. I pretty much screenshot so many of the comics and artworks that I see online, and I just look at them and study them over and over again on my phone. And I go back to their pages and look at their new work. It helps me a lot with understanding why they are so confident and why they put things where they put them, which comes down to the second step, studying other artists. So, observing is one thing, but actually studying the artist helps you put that observation to good use. This is one of the first observation studies that I did. It's from an artist that I don't even know on Instagram. I saw their artwork and the colors and the shadows and the lighting just spoke to me so much. And I just wanted to learn what was their thinking behind it. So I took a screenshot, made sure that the name is in it. I did the sketch really quickly and then I locked down the colors using some of the brushes that I like and I'm comfortable with. But then I started focusing on the lighting the lighting and the shadows. And you can see here that in the shadows, they use so many beautiful colors. And that was my main point of studying for this. And then I let go of the line work, which is something that I do not do at all with my drawing. So this was really, really fun to do and fascinating to try. And so with the lighting, with the shadows, I did my best to, bring out the character without the need of the lines, which is something that we do in traditional art. But digitally, this was pretty much my first time doing it. Doing this just helped me a lot to get comfortable with the colors, with the shading, and as you can see, it just like it keeps getting deeper, and it just turned out so much better than I thought. Obviously, if I go back now, I'll probably use a different brush, probably even make the lightings more clear as the original artist has done. You can see that their lighting is so much more confident because they're just locked out square of white, which is just, oh my god. I did not do that because clearly I am still not comfortable with it, right? But studying this allowed me to become a bit more comfortable. As you can see in the shadows, I make more confident shapes than in the lights. The second one was obviously from Miriam, one of my favorite comics, Hooky. If you haven't read it on Webtoon, all the links are down below. So for her style, like I said, it's so simple, and with simple styles like this, you have to be extremely confident of what you put down, from the line to the shadows to the colors, right? And she just puts down the minimum, and it gives you the maximum results, right? And that's what I wanted to learn most from her. What is she putting down? Why is it down? Why is it not something else? Like for the inside of the skirt, why not put any lines? Didn't need it, right? Or like extra lines within the clothes. The clothes are just so minimally lined, but it's just so wonderfully, clear. And you can clearly see the wind, the effect. It's just beautiful. The storytelling is just amazing. And this helped me a lot with taking down all the unnecessary stuff from a drawing and bring it down to the bare minimum to tell the story, to make it extremely clear. And honestly, this was definitely a challenge because it was just so simplistic. I also couldn't get the perspective quite correctly, so yeah, it was pretty tough. But then I used some tools, digital tools, which thank god for that, and I did some like pointers over here, making sure like reminders for myself of, oh, like, the little dent in the shorts, or like, the line which just doesn't connect anywhere, and the shadow that just like, very sharp. But yeah, absolutely love Miriam's work. And the last study that I did was from my all-time favorite animation, Jujutsu Kaisen. And the thing with this one, I didn't even finish this one. As you can see, I only did the base color. My main reason for wanting to do this study was the line work. The line work is almost like you can't see it, but also it's clearly there. It's very thin, but so well done. And so I wanted to practice with this line work, especially that they're mostly like all the same width, and it's very unusual to me with this kind of line work. I usually do like thick and thin lines, but with this one it's all the same width. And so it was very challenging, but at the same time I learned so much from it, being very clear, very precise about the drawing. Which brings us to this third step, experimenting. From all that I learned, I came to experiment with it, because if you are going to use what you studied and what you learned and what you observed, you have to bring it in your own world, right? So you have to try out the different brushes that the artist has used or you use, or the brushes that you don't even know about, right? And you have to do sketches after sketches and experimenting after experimenting until you can realize, oh, I like this kind of line work, or the coloring here is interesting to me, or I don't seem to like this texture here. But with every studies that you do, experimenting with what you learn is a very, very important step, because only over here I learned that, oh my god, I love this textured brush for shadows and highlights. It just made so much sense to me, and I was like, this is it, this is my brush. And the brush pack I actually bought from an amazing artist. The link is down below. But yeah, so experimenting with the art is so important in order to not only just find what you like, what feels right to you, and stop thinking so logically about it, but also putting in use what you have learned from observing and studying other artists and other works. And finally, number four is scene studies. So, your favorite movies, your favorite TV shows, even music videos, grab screenshots of those and get to drawing. Draw it with the brushes that you experimented with and see where it takes you. And with these scene studies, don't try to make them absolutely perfect. Try to finish it rather than perfecting it. And that's a very important thing to notice about, because these are not artworks that you're thinking about showcasing as your portfolio or selling it. These are artworks for you to learn and move through that crappy art phase. So by studying scenes, you're actually learning the essence of shadows and lighting and the colors, because they are so cinematic, right? And not only the storytelling is something that you will grasp on, but how you put the colors down, where you put the shadows, and why you do that, they all come together in studying a scene. So this one is from Ariana Grande's music video, The Boy Is Mine. I am absolutely obsessed with that music and I just had to draw it, right? So you can see in this drawing that I have used the textures that I liked. I have become more confident with my shadows. They are not smudged in, they are clear, they are sharp, which shows that I know what I'm doing, right? And with my lighting, I have used colors in it. And with this drawing specifically, actually, I did a sketch on my notebook. Then I brought it in and I put the colors and the line work and everything underneath that sketchbook layer. So it gave it that extra texture from the paper. It was just wonderful. And you can see first I did a different brush with my shadows and I just did not like it. It just didn't sit with me. So I went with the second one, which is so much sharper, so much more confident, and you can see that I don't blend in every part of it, only small parts and pieces of it. And slowly I added in the colors, and the texture of the clothing is different from the texture of the skin, in a sense that I wanted to showcase the difference of, the material basically. And I just loved how it turned out, especially with the clothing. They are very confident lines, confident shadows. The shapes are clear. And then here with the lighting, you can see I use colors in it and I use two different lighting. So this side of her face and then the other side. There's no extra stuff that doesn't need to be there. So the clarity from Miriam, the colors from the first study, and the line work from the third study, you can see the line work is almost getting lost, but it's there. So the three studies have come together in this one. And then the other scene study that I did was from the famous TV show Bridgerton. And this scene I just absolutely love, between two friends. And I just really appreciate their dynamic and just female friendship in movies. It just needs to be more of them. But yeah, so Penelope and Eloise in this scene, I wanted to grasp that moment between them, that storytelling, but also the harsh lighting, right? And I wanted to explore with the blurring out and creating depth, and of course the back scenes, the backgrounds for both of these studies I had to do, so that also helps us not to run away from our background responsibilities. But yeah, so here again, you can see that the shadows, they are more confident. I have used a little bit of elements of anime in the line work. The thick line works come from mostly from Miriam's work. And the shadows, the colors, they come from the color study that I did. And of course, the comics that I have been reading. And you can see it is just much more confident. Even in the shadows here, I didn't need to add anything else. I left it be. So that's part of what I took from Miriam, and everything else I took from other artists. So this way I'm learning from multiple art sources. I can bring them together more naturally, and it just comes together at the end of that. So now I want to show you how all of these studies in the past couple of months come together to create my latest artworks, couple of artworks, and how each of these elements show up in it and how it can show up for you too. So with this piece, you can see that in the shadows, there are so many colors. This is like one of my favorite things about this, because it just shows that I have become even more confident. And with the lighting as well, like, oh my god, I have left textures, I have smudged it in. It just shows that I I know more of what I am actually doing. It's not just randomly doing something, right? And you can see very like hints of shadows that are there, making it, giving it more depth, giving it more meaning. And also the red color along with the blue and the yellow contrasting each other and bouncing off of each other, it just shows that I have learned something from those studies, right? So it can happen for you as well. It will happen for you. It's just everything makes sense, right? And everything is put down with not only just thought, but the right feeling and the textures of the brushes that I have used, I have become comfortable with them, right? With the latest drawing that I have done, it's from Jujutsu Kaisen and a wholesome drawing with the new challenge that I'm doing. If you haven't seen it, they're on my shorts. And with this drawing, you can see that I have again used my studies. So the line work is thin, it's almost invisible, just like the Jujutsu Kaisen art style, but then at the same time it's textured. Shadows have different colors. They are, some of them are harsh, some of them are blended in, and then we have a lot of detail in the eyes, but then very minimum details in the clothing and the car complements the characters in a way that it would let the characters shine and it doesn't overpower them. This drawing I actually had to redo after almost finishing it because it just didn't sit right with me. I didn't have reference for Gojo sitting behind the car, so it took me a long time to get it right, and I didn't. I finally ended up taking a picture from a family friend and from him sitting behind the car, and then I finally got to draw Gojo the way I wanted to draw him. So my best advice is, with whatever you're going to draw in your main art pieces, make sure you have the right references or you're going to waste a lot of your own time for absolutely no reason. I did so many sketches, so many redos, and it just didn't work out. But then towards the end you can see that I did a completely different coloring style, and I didn't like it. It didn't sit well with me. Also, the line work wasn't sitting well with me. It was thicker, it was more textured, and that was when I decided to redo the line work and the coloring, and it ended up being what you see now. I am super happy with it now, but like I said, it took some time and it's completely normal. I haven't done enough practice to be able to execute what I feel is good and right to me on the first try. So clearly I need to continue studying and I need to continue do my exercises and make some scene studies to become even more comfortable with the brushes and with the styles and all that kind of thing. At the end of the day, with these 4 steps, I cannot promise that you'll become an art god, but you will definitely improve and you will see it clearly like you have seen in mine. Please tag me as you are doing these 4 steps and this process. I would love to see your growth and your progress, and I'm here for you to grow together. Thank you so much for watching my video. Till next time. I also couldn't get the what's it called?